Today is the 23rd March, and we are meeting for the CICD UX meeting. Today is just Katie and I, so we'll keep it quick and short. All right, I'll start with the general announcements first. First of all, we have an upcoming Friends and Family Day on 25th March. So if you haven't applied for a PTO yet, now is a good time. Then the next standing announcement is, of course, our OKR progress. So take a look at the issue and see how things are progressing and update it there. Next is in April. I mean, April is kind of going to be a front-end contribution month. So what we need to do as designers for that is we need to identify a list of low-hanging fruits, front-end issues that could use community contributions. And how we can prepare for it is we can think of SEF3 or SEF4 issues that we've always wanted to see addressed, and our team couldn't make time for those. So you have to just make sure that there's a UX label, then there's seeking community contributions label. But I just wanted to add here that from my own experience, to have the seeking community contribution label stay, you have to make sure that the workflow is ready for development. That means it has to go past the planning breakdown and it has to be weighted by the team. So make sure that's done, the design is up and the weight is added to the issue. And then add these labels. Yeah, and next is beautifying our UI. So every milestone, there's an ask for one PD and one engineer to volunteer to partner in MRs to fix usability issues in a self-directed way. And it's an opportunity to explore other areas and to fix things that have been bugging everyone for a long time. And yeah, if you want to volunteer for this, please create an MR, add yourself to the table in the handbook link that's provided here in the section, then check the UX weekly agenda and recording for more information. And I will very quickly touch through the items that Gina has populated here for Pipeline Insights and Runner. So Gina is focusing on review apps for 1410. And through researches, she has found that there are many usability issues which are associated with it, and she has tagged a couple of issues that she would be looking at. And another thing that she's working on is visionary mockers for CI job queues. And the link is provided here for the issue if you want to just go and check out and drop any feedback. Okay, Katie, you're next.
Cool. The past 2 weeks, I've been really focusing on settings, and a bit of background about that is that package has a lot of upcoming settings that are going to be added, and it's a good chance to look at the structure of settings. So I've linked a whole bunch of issues and MRs here of things that I'm working on, because settings is very big and I'm coming at it from many different angles. The first one is, how do we signal to the user that a setting is going to cascade downward? I'm looking to audit places where we currently do this in the product. We do have some guidance in Pajamas about the way it should appear to the user when you're in the child, when the setting is locked. But yeah, there's lots of different use cases here. And I've also made some design proposals, not really to say we should change the design, but more like to get the conversation started and to generate some discussion. So if you have some time, please have a look at that issue and yeah, let me know what you think. Another one I'm working on is that users are often going to the feature page to look for the feature settings. I think eventually we could consider placing the settings contextually closer to the feature, like the security has a configure tab. MR for that going into Pajamas. I was also very confused at which level admin group Hi,
I'm so
welcome
sorry for
back.
that. My internet threw me out. Uh,
Oh, that's all good.
yeah,
We're
that's
back
not
now.
good. Yes. So
Okay.
which point were we on?
I was talking about which level do settings live on.
Right.
Yeah.
And I did look at, I just wanted to make a point that when I looked at the issue that you had created where you're seeking suggestions from team members around cascading settings,
Yeah.
it did make me realize and actually observe like how much of uh, difference in experience we're providing with that. And there are certain instances when I see things populated at project level, but I do not realize like where is it coming from? Is it coming from the admin level? Is it coming from a group? So where this has actually been set. And instead of appearing as a limit, it appears as a choice that I'm making. So like I had put screenshot for the was that maximum artifact size. So if I'm on group level, if I have put a limit of, let's say 100, then for project, 100 should become a limit for me. It shouldn't come pre-populated as that you made 100 as a choice, as if I filled it there. I did not. In fact, I have an option to have something within that limit that wasn't specified anywhere. So yeah,
Mhm.
thank you so much for working on that. And we can totally see
Yeah.
the kind of impact this is going to have.
Yeah, it's just as I was making the designs, I realized like there's no way that this is one size fits all because the settings are very inconsistent. So it's kind of like you just need to pick a starting point. Like we also need our settings to be a bit more consistent, as in like sometimes we use toggles and sometimes we use checkboxes and stuff like that. So it's really hard to make a consistent visual pattern to signal to the user. But I'm just starting somewhere and going to see what happens. A lot of really talented designers have worked on this in the past as well. So I'm drawing from their work and just hopefully take it a little bit further.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I've linked a few more issues here of uh, yeah, I want to document a lot of the confusion I had about settings, like to document a lot of implicit rules about how settings work in pajamas. So I've made an epic about that, which is also drawing on a lot of the work that Hayana and Michael Lee did in the past for new proposals. So feel free to have a look. But yeah, the two things that I'd really love feedback on is the cascading downwards and any ideas you have for writing guidelines about where to place a setting, like admin group or project. So that's it for me.
Yeah, thanks. I will vocalize for Nadia today. So this milestone, Nadia is working on user flows and visionary mockups for the CI catalog that she has also spoken about a couple of times before in CI/CD meeting. And the team is taking a pivot from their initial vision based on the POC spike. So currently they're exploring the user flow for publishing a CI component to CI catalog. And then they're planning to use the existing GitLab features for everything as much as possible. But looking ways into the experience can be guided. How the experience can be guided and customized to this specific user flow. And she has added the issue. Yes, this is an issue for that. And for the next point, also she has mentioned an issue, and that's about like she would love to get our vote on the favorite CI component name ideas. Yeah, this looks like something really interesting. And then I'll move. Any comments, Katie, on any of these topics?
Nope, I've already voted in the other issue, so we can move on to
Okay, then
your
it's
stuff.
just me who needs to like go and vote. I haven't looked at it yet. I'll definitely do that after the meeting. All right, so coming to pipeline execution, the new milestone has just begun, so I don't have a really interesting work in progress to show, but I would quickly touch upon a few things that are either upcoming or something that I've observed in my like stage group that could be of interest to other team members. So designing for scalability, after having a discussion with some designers and also Jackie, who's the group product manager for Verify, it seems like the new emerging theme within Verify is scalability, because now we are looking at how to present to users very high number of resources without breaking anything at our end, and also keeping the experience like intact and good for them to look at those things. And the kind of resources that I'm talking about right now are definitely runners, environments, releases, pipelines, jobs. So when we are talking of big enterprises, the scale, the number of resources that they have to deal with is a lot. It could be in like hundreds, thousands. So how we are presenting that to them in a way that they are discoverable, in a way that they could kind of make a sense out of the trends over time, and even get like good insights so that they can perform an action to optimize their workflows or make any necessary changes that they need to keep a control on the resources they're using, on the infrastructural resources they're using, like runner minutes or CI/CD minutes, or what else could be there. So it seems like package, I'm not sure how bulky the package list can go in a project and how much like it can go high in scale, but it seems like that can also be covered under this larger umbrella. But yeah, so there's an upcoming thing big that's happening for Verify in April, and this is going to be the topic that would be talked about. So this is just to announce for that. And then we are finally on our way to implement shared runner usage for usage quota, for user namespace. And we are doing that this time on the usage quota page, unlike analytics. So I have like, I sought feedback on the design in the previous meeting, and there was a lot of like useful suggestions and advice that I received on the design and the experience, and that really helped me. So it looks like we are on in a really good place to finally push things to, and in fact, it is in dev. It's being developed as we speak, and soon it is going to be on production and available for everyone to try out. Then lastly, it's a work that I was very recently exposed to. I mean, I just came across this issue and tried to understand the problem, and that was my kind of gateway to looking at access in GitLab. So this issue says auditors cannot view CI/CD analytics. And even though I had done like a kind of small project for documenting the permissions in GitLab CI, it still came to me as kind of a surprise that the permissions that we talk about in GitLab is not just a function of the roles. In fact, it is a function of a combination of access plus roles. So we have a set of access, which is defined at the admin level or at the very top level, root level. And then that is kind of combined with the role that you're providing to a user, and the resulting list of permissions is what is applied to them. So I haven't started working exactly on this issue, but it seems like this is going to be pretty interesting because it's going to open a whole new arena for me to explore. Yeah, and that's that.
My first question is auditor. I know that's not a role. Is that something in the admin area? Like, is that an official term, auditor?
That is, yeah. And I will
Oh.
share the link with you. Where is it? Where is it? Yeah, I found it. So this is the link in the docs, how it is documented. So when you have someone audit your group or audit your, I would say group or namespace. So what you do is you provide them with an auditor access. Apart from auditor access, there are a couple of other access. If you go to your GDK and go to your admin dashboard, there's a way to check like what are the access that's available to assign to users. It's in the user section. So you do that at the very top level. And then when it comes to groups and projects, you provide additional roles to those users. Like for example, Katie is an auditor. I've given her an access for as an auditor. But when it comes to GitLab project, I give you the role of a maintainer or a developer. Now, whatever permissions you'll get is going to be a function of both combined, the access auditor and the role developer. And it's going to change with every change in access as well as role.
Oh, wow. That sounds like clashing functionality. I wonder what the reason is to have both of these, because it seems like it would be very ambiguous.
Yeah, exactly my thoughts. So I also want to bring this up with other designers who are working on roles and permissions. So there was recently an issue for collaboration, if you remember, because they're kind of trying to make a single page for controlling the
Yeah.
roles and access. I'm wondering if this was taken into account. Well, I'm sure they would have thought about it or they know about it, but still, this is a little surprising for me, and also at this point a little scary because I don't know a lot about it.
Yeah, that does sound scary. But because I'm kind of in the same realm in terms of like who can do what with the settings, and I'd never heard of this, so I'll have to look into this as well.
Yeah.
Good luck. And the scalability, is that purely like visually and hierarchically how we represent things, or is there also a technical component in terms of like loading lots of different things?
I think this refers to the overall experience that we would provide to users in terms of monitoring or navigating through a huge list of resources.
Mm-hmm.
But it's an
Yeah.
area that we definitely haven't done much work in, and everything that's going to happen is going to be very new.
Yeah, that makes sense. We have this problem in the container registry. And one of the things that we're going to do is like it's currently a list that might be sorted on date or something, and it's this list that can have so many objects in it, but we are going to use some intelligence to kind of bring up the most relevant, like what we think the user is probably looking for, and bring that to the top of the UI, things like this. That sounds kind of similar to the problem that you're trying to solve.
Yeah, that sounds very similar. And that is going to be pretty challenging because, I mean, no matter how you decide like what's going to be important for users, there's always like some small gaps that are, I wouldn't say overlooked, but it's just that how much can you cover? But yeah, I mean, there would be some sort of trade-offs, and eventually we'll be at a place that would be comfortable for most of our users.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm curious to see how that progresses, and I can show what we're going to do with container registry. Might be interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so I'll move to the last thread and I'll just touch upon it, which is for UX research. So Will has provided some updates about the SUS results that him and Hannah had shared with the release team, and the mural board, the issue, everything is provided in the agenda. And then he also had a conversation with Adam around benchmarking study for ops area. And he's currently trying to shop around the idea and determine what stage group should be the focus of the study. And Erica has mentioned about something that's related to your work around settings, that how the research around the settings is going to progress, which is going to be like so interesting to look at. And the issue is marked here, and the best way to iterate on this, she mentions, is to create a modular approach, which I think is right, because it's pretty vast, and that different stage teams can use to look into settings for the areas. This isn't currently a priority for Ashley. Okay, and she's currently also running survey development interviews for SaaS shared journal survey and the ops product direction survey at the same time, so that she can quickly iterate on those projects. And that is all from the agenda.
Cool.
All right. So we'll meet in another meeting. Bye, Katie.
Catch you later. Bye.